It's a real pleasure to see you all here and to introduce Lesley Wengembo, our speaker at this year's Sydney Oceanic Arts Fair. Lesley started painting at 5, I understand, when he was 5 years old. His dad used to draw sketches of aeroplanes and helicopters, and Lesley started copying him in the hope of doing a better job. His mother was an artist as well, I understand. She made Billum bags and other such things. And he saw a program on television about the Archibald Prize when he was 12 years old. And he decided that his ambition was to go in for the Archibald. Anyway, here he is now. He went in for the Archibald last year, wasn't it? And the portrait that he painted was actually of one of the security guards here at the National Art School, somebody we in the Oceanic Art Society have met a couple of times when we've been having our talks here. So with that much introduction, I think I'll hand over straight to you, Lesley. And we're really looking forward to your talk, Cultural Identity, Our Greatest Asset. Over to you.
All right. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for joining and to whoever watching me right now at the moment. First of all, I want to acknowledge the traditional owner of this nation, of which I'm standing right now and speaking to you all. And I want to take this time to thank the Oceanic Art Society. Yeah, I wanted to thank the Oceanic Art Society and for giving me this opportunity, and to whoever and to everyone here for you making your time to come here and I listened to this lecture, a little bit of my life and stuff. So thanks so much. Yep. So yeah, about this presentation, I'm just going to talk about the cultural identity, our greatest asset. Basically, I want to talk about my life as an artist, the challenges I had gone through in Papua New Guinea also, and also my way to National Art School, and also like a little bit about my future plans, and yeah, just to finish everything off and yeah, summarize. So it's all about, like, I would say it's about my life, and I felt like it's part of the cultural identity which I wanted to share to you all. So life, I grew up in the suburb of Port Moresby, and I am the third siblings of 4 boys. Both of my parents had not completed their education, or they have, and even we're living in a low to medium income family. Yeah, and it was not easy as it seems. It seems of how we were raised and stuff, and compared to where I am right now, I'm standing here. The life is completely different back home to now, and it's been a great journey for me. It was my parents who had worked hard just for us kids to have a better future. I was born in Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province, and in 1997. We moved to Port Moresby in 2000 during the time of mass migration, where people moved from the urban to the city, and to look for jobs and opportunity and stuff. And as I had mentioned earlier, both of my parents have not completed their completed any graduated in any college or any university or anything, but they worked really hard, and their work ethic it's kind of inspired me a lot. My dad, my dad, he worked as a pool cleaner. He managed to work himself up to be in a manager position in a hotel, and then my mom, because as mentioned, I think a little bit about her creativity. I get it from her, and she do Mary blouses, sew Mary blouses, and made balloons. And we literally like we grew up from that. And I used to follow her to market, craft market, and like I just help her carry bags and work with her to the market, and once in a while, and that's how we kind of do. And but it was an interesting life at the time. But they work however, even though they had a low to medium income, they managed to save some they managed to save up their money, or they managed to do their financial stuff where, I mean, that's kind of interesting because that led me to, travel, like we once in 4 to 5 years or something like that, we travel to the villages or something and on a plane. And I mean, which is for me at the time, like, not many people go to not in the kids, where I grew up in, like not many people travel back home to the villages and stuff. But when that happened, it actually opened my knowledge of understanding the village life in a way, because I grew up in the cities, though it's the same thing, but it's a different lifestyle together also in the villages too. And I thought that going to the village will be, it's a fresh new start of different thing, but it's completely a different idea altogether when I ended up in my village. So this is my village. I took that in 2000, I think 2017, yeah, when I visited my yeah. So all right. Yeah. So it was when I was age of 5. When I was age of 5, and my I grew okay. It was when I was 5 in the early age, and I started to draw. This is when I started to draw, and my grandfather was the first seeder for me when I actually drew. And unfortunately, it was really, like it's a crazy story. I kind of mix up my note a little bit, so sure, no kidding. Oh yeah. Wait, guys, I'm looking at it now. Okay, I'm just gonna go straight to that. Okay, I was influenced greatly by my father, though he was not an artist. He used to do like helicopter, and I tried to copy him, beat him, or even beat my brothers when we were growing up and stuff like that. And and then and sometimes I used to ask old people, all the older people to sit for me for live drawing, but but for live drawing and stuff, but they don't want to, most of the time. Why would they, waste their time sitting for a 7-year-old kid like me and, draw or something? And even though like if I wanted to ask them, hey, can I draw you and stuff? Like sometimes they just don't want it to. So so what I do is that, so I used to draw people in life when they are in Baba, trimming their hair. Yeah, trimming there because then you got someone who can sit there for more than 15 to 25 minutes, which is a decent time for live drawing. Yeah. So that's my grandfather. So I believe that's my grandfather there. So yeah, his name is Wengembo. I think I got a little similarity thing. And yeah, okay, yeah. So I believe I was gifted with observational skills at an early age. I can remember, correcting my classmates like that. You see on this, like people when they draw outside that, like I just corrected and like, no, that's not how you do it. That's and even the table, the perspective, I changed it. No, that's not how you do it. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, perspective and stuff like. So that was when I was like 7 to 8 years old, and it was not that I drew, coincidentally, but I do it because it was what I like to do. Which is like I tap into my own imaginative world, which I found it more fascinating than the world. What it is like out there. And when I say that is that because I believe that the suburb, because the suburb where I grew up in Port Moresby, the rest of my life was not that peaceful compared to my friendly personality. I guess what builds me to be a decent person, I would say, was of my parents and my older brothers, because the suburb Morata, where I grew up on, is one of the most notorious part of Port Moresby, and occasionally we see stolen vehicles, chased by police or ear gunfires. Also, most scene activity is classes between community and sometimes it leads to killing, and that when that happened, there's like classes between, and when that happened, like there's like a fighting in the community, and that's and that happened many times. I mean, okay, yeah. I guess, with all of this event, yeah, I guess with, all of this event and stuff like it, that led me to like all this thing in the community and in the suburb, that led me to, find art more peaceful, and, and it gives me that escape that I find, and I like, and to go and like, find myself again, and like, just to be aware of everything happening. Because I've seen so many of my friends growing up with, we grew up as a kid and stuff, but then later along the track, most didn't made it to school, and then although structures like how we were structured and stuff, it also ruined the community, and that's something too that I mostly like my heart. I tried my life to I love to talk about is that of the the suburban area, and like especially the area that I grew up in. Yeah. As Papua New Guinea, we always are proud of being diverse and multicultural country in the world, with over 800 plus languages and thousands of tribes, and that we boast of wherever we are in the world. However, we are losing it slowly, and that not realized because we live there, and that's a need that I see and needs to be addressed. And I knew that this is as an artist, I felt that it's my task of doing something with my practice about that. And because in the West, the history is preserved in literature, and like this photo I took that in Paris when I visited it, and it's a journal of Leonardo da Vinci, and the painting and stuff. Like most of the histories were kept in and which is and while looking at that, like it kind of in my perspective of what I see is like ours is oral history were written in our hearts and mind. So for example, when an old person like that's the reason why, for example, when an old person died, they took with them all the history, the culture, and languages with them, and that's our identity. And we were easily influenced by the Western lifestyle. And as you might know, the history, we were colonized many years ago by different countries until the nations established independence in 1975 from Australia. So throughout the years, after the independence, the presence of the Western is still evident in their influence in our culture and lifestyle of today. Today's contemporary Papua New Guinea, and that also influenced my work as an artist too, because of the influences this is one of my paintings that I did in 2018, and it's the painting is like it's also I was talking about the thing about preserving culture and stuff. Like I felt that in the eyes of some an old elderly person, so much story is in there, but I felt like I need that if they are gone, or if it's like they go with all of this experience that they have before we were independent. Like, so I felt like there's a need that needs to be documented, or so I felt like as an artist, maybe that's my calling, or and I'm still finding it, and that's why I'm like studying. So yeah, so now let's go to the start again, where I started painting. Because I've been drawing for a while, but now it's like I'm going to the painting. And now what brought me to painting? So yeah, for me as an artist, I remember the very first time I touched the paintbrush. It was in my street. I was just watching people, doing face painting, and like that. I was just watching them do face painting, and then a man gave me some leftover paint with an old broken brush, and it told me to like just paint this kid on the side of me. He said like, why don't you go and paint this kid on the side, because I drew and stuff. So I was just like, go and just paint this kid's face. So I mean, vividly, I remember that moment when I first held the brush. My hands were shaking as I dipped the brush into the paint tube. Oh yeah, and slowly lifted it up to the kid's face. The soft brush loaded with paints separate like 5 millimeters away to touch his cheeks. And for several seconds, time kind of stood still for me, and that moment, it felt like, the Michelangelo creation moment, as Adam reaches out to touch his God's hands, it felt like that moment. And this was the experience, that led me onto the journey of painting. And that's the moment that I will treasure it, because I felt that I need to share it. And yeah, and how I started painting and how I appropriated them, and what it influenced me and stuff. Yeah. So I felt like, after that, that experience, I felt like, I felt a need to, learn more about the great masters. So I did not, at the time, I did not have phone nor a computer with any, internet or anything. So all I had was the only public library in town. And the library serves the entire city of Port Moresby. So yeah, once or twice a week, you would find me in the big book section where all the picture books were kept. While everyone was in the fiction and non-fiction, section, I'm lying down on the floor with art encyclopedias spread all around me before me to, yeah. And I must confess, I tore out a few pages. Yeah. And I tore out a few pages from the book to get reference to paint those, to appropriate those masterpieces in my work. And that's all the work I created, like this one. Like, if I didn't find those books and stuff, like I would not create, I would not start a painting to create this kind of a work like that. Yeah, and this is like a painting, my own appropriation of Mona Lisa in my own practice. I think I painted that in 2014. I think I don't know, 15. Yeah, 14, I don't know. Yeah, and then my other painting too. It's called Marius Bright Price, and I appropriate from this that elegant painting by Edward Monet. There's also it's really simply called Bright. Sorry, simply called like Picnic, and I kind of yeah. So I appropriated in my practice. Yeah. So trying to appropriate those works, I use a lot of multiple grade layers of transparent oil-based paint and mixed with linseed oil to create those painting. And it was only after I ended up 5 years later at the National Art School, which is a place nice to stay in. That was it was that I had done like it was after 5 years that what I had done all along was called glazing technique, and that was the very technique used by other masters, and I was using it unwittingly without realizing it. So those are the experience, and I think yeah, and that leads me to yeah. So okay. So which brings me to which brings me to National Art School in Sydney. So getting to NAS was not something that even I had dreamt of. I was busy trying to get in. So yeah, I was busy trying to sell my artwork on the streets while still in primary school, where I will like join my mom to the monthly craft market and what I usually do and stuff. And after I finished in high school in 2017, sorry, I had to turn down an offer to study at the Pacific Adventist University in order to follow my dream of being an artist. My family did not take this like decision too kindly, because making it to university back home is actually really huge, like, and it's a big deal for my family, and not only family but tribe at the same time. So however, I had to prove them I have to prove them that I can live off my artwork by that, creating major commission work and selling paintings. Like this is one of my major commission that I took, and yeah, like that, and a few other, yeah. And by the year, yeah, so those are the works that I did at the time. And by the year 2018, so yeah. Do you want me to explain those paintings? It's just a major commission by it's Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea. They were like only like 7 Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea and stuff. So yeah, yeah. By the year 2018, I received a few international invitation, which I had to turn down because my parents would not allow me to travel alone, because I've never been out of the country, and I don't going alone is gonna kill them. However, I knew I was ready to conquer the world in my way. So eventually, I did it anyway. And the decision to travel to Sydney. So yeah, the decision to travel to Sydney led me to places I had only dreamed of going, like Berlin and Switzerland and many other countries and stuff. And that was some residency that I've been over the past few, and some I didn't go, some I turned down because of that, and yeah. So yeah, before those travel and stuff, I actually oops, next slide, go back. Sydney was the first place outside of PNG, the first place that I've been, and never in my second thought I knew that it will end up becoming my second home. It was only supposed to be a temporary stay and before ended up at the just a temporary stay before I ended up in an art symposium in Paris, and missing but actually, I was missing one document. I was missing one document for my Paris travel visa, and that actually changes the course of my art career, and that led me through the gates of the National Art School, and which is, yeah. If I had, I'm thinking that if I had got onto that plane that week on November 2018, I might not even standing here today. So I think that it's a really, a moment that I could share. Yeah. So, so yeah, my university. So yeah, journey to my college. Interesting. At NAS, it wasn't as easy to like. That led me after many experience and stuff. That led me here to NAS. So yeah, at NAS it wasn't as easy to fit in quickly. Even everyone seemed to be friendly and considering a huge cultural shift. It's pretty much a different lifestyle. Even though we have some commonalities where I've experienced it, like some commonalities myself I experienced there, but that has a big difference and stuff. But however, I make good friends. I find people who means a lot and stuff, and meeting you all, and yeah, and Ness, and it was really great to be here for sure. And during my 2.5 years at the campus, oh yeah, during my, boom, let's go next. During my 2.5 year at the campus, I had learned a lot, and I had learned and done a lot, and both in and out of the campus, like submitting my work to Archibald Prize and in 2018, 2020, and then 2020 again. Like this is one of my Archibald Prize that I did in 2020, and then that year. And just this year, I did this painting of Bruce Spence, and thanks to my friend, it kind of sent me off to meet with him, and then I was doing this. He sits for me for this year painting, and the painting is called Reflection, and the other one, Malakasol, which is in 2020, my other submission, and actually, that Archibald Prize, that was actually my childhood dream to achieve while I was I was back home, while I was living in Morata settlement and in Port Moresby, and I did it at the time by submitting this work, and even though I haven't made it to the finalist or being it's for me it was amazing experience, and it's like a childhood dream come true, and it's by entering those paintings into the the prize, the Archibald Prize and stuff. And yeah, so yeah, this is, I think, yeah, so the painting it's really, I might do it again, and next year again. I'm still gonna apply while I'm still living here in Sydney, because until one day I'm getting to finalist, might be, well, maybe ended up yeah, winning, I don't know, is gonna do it anyway. So, oh, this goes well. I mean, you guys hear me properly? We are good. So my future plan, I mean, but I'm not finishing there, but yeah. Okay, my future plan. Okay. Well, I felt that like after completing my NES, I'm thinking of doing my master's, and I'm thinking of my master's, and also I'm gonna go home for a few months to learn more of my ancestry history, and which I felt it's important, and which slowly, because it's dying, and we did not slowly dying, and we did not do any much of it. However, coming here or going to Europe have changes my perspective of looking at it, and it's, I mean, that's kind of been like a drive for me to like go back home and just do something about like just capturing the soul of the people in the village, or like just do something like that. And I felt like that's something maybe that would be my next few years down the line, my maybe my next 20 years of things. I might do more of those works and stuff. Yeah, It's just, yeah, capturing more souls and doing something different and something new. And I'm excited for my journey as, as I will see how it goes by as an artist, as a professional artist. And yeah, and now, yeah, so I was like, with all this experience that I mean, it still seems like a dream. Like, honestly, it still seems like a dream for someone like me who had come from a middle to lower background and from a notorious part of what must be. My talent took me this far. I always credit and thank God for this gift, but temporary, but importantly, as practicing and with passion and continue learning. Um, Unfortunately, not many kids have the same opportunity as I have. Seeing the structure of how we were raised and how we were taught to see the world saddens me. We tend to look at how the society is built, and we tend to look at how the society is built and trying to copy the archetype structure that is safe and conventional for while we abandon our own culture that is been there before everything came to be. I want to be that someone who can inspire other young kids like me in the block, the street, yeah, back home or wherever you are. Yeah, that's something special, but scared to express or to let people know of what he or she has, because that's a gold mine, like, that they have to look at themselves instead of trying to copy something, like, go back to the root. It is something I've always been, trying to talk about in my heart. There was like a, there's a quote by Jeffrey Benjamin says, fear is the destroyer of dreams and killer of ambition. For me as a kid, I fear not my future as being an artist, but as a child of my parents, how I can please them and the ways to do well in school and completing university, to do jobs for money, and that, yeah, and if I can, for money, which is like it's so common. It's so common that we, because of the structures and stuff. And if I can come out, but for me, like if I can come out of the structure to turn my hobby into my career, others can learn from it, and others can learn from me. Others can too, like um, I love doing it and intense. I love to doing what I do, like painting and intense. It serves me and also serves the country and also inspires other people at the same time. And and that and that can do change into many things, like, and I felt like everybody, uh, yeah, needed to have this kind of boost and stuff like that. So yeah, I like to express my work as a practice. I like to express it as I am a contemporary artist or a contemporary artwork at the same time, but at the same time balancing both my heritage with what I had experienced and translate it into my paintings of what is relevant of today. Yeah, for that, like I believe that preserving, like that's why most of my practice I felt like I will be doing more portraiture or more works of like documenting the histories of like I will not be doing something apart from because I'm an artist, but I guess so many things will be happening along the way as my practice goes by, and I'll, and but I what I've seen at the moment is like documenting people, elderly people, which is something that I felt like, and that's what I felt like um, I felt that, you're talking about the identity and stuff, it's just the lifestyle, like how you can talk about the people living in the villages or like, so like people back home in PNG and stuff. And yeah, and I've been over the years. So yeah, and over the years, I've been creating those are my other works, like my first hyperreal painting. Uh, so yeah, this is one of my first hyperreal painting that I've been like before I went to that. This is my like my first portrait, I would say, after like moving from the other type of painting that I do, and then to portraiture, and then to this one transition that I done in 2017, and which is becoming the most viral painting later that time, and that also becoming the painting that ended me in a place like, where people find me on Facebook and stuff like that. And then and little painting like that, which is my first masterpiece painted outside, which was painted outside of PNZ. And I felt like, this is, I felt like, I at least, capturing those faces is actually documenting the history, and I felt like, if more of the artists and more of people can, coming out and stuff, like they can, we can do this thing of, reviving our history again and look back to it again. So yeah, for that, I think, yeah, I got nothing much to say, but hope that is interesting. Hope you guys have a really great fun day listening to this, and thankful for this.
Oh,
I got to answer the questions.
So who wants to ask the first question to Lesley? Yeah, Robin.
Lesley, thank you very much. That was terrific. The first picture you showed of your grandfather, was that a painting you did, or was it a photo?
Oh, that's a photo. I was supposed to do a painting. I was supposed to.
Wow.
No, actually, I was working on a painting on this, but I haven't finished it yet. So yeah, it should be finished soon. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Lesley,
Yes.
your first major commission of the prime ministers, the 4 prime ministers, was that a commission of the historical for the Parliament House or something, or was it the government commission?
Oh yeah, it was commissioned by the, it's not really like a government commission, but part of it, because they would be, we were planning of putting it into portrait gallery or something like that. So hopefully it will get into it, but yeah, it's like they commissioned me, and yeah, but not by the government.
And where were they then? Obviously they were Douglas, so they fit into a particular space.
Yeah, it needs a really
huge,
yeah, I wish that they're gonna put it in, like if they can do that, that'd be good too, like, or creating a space. Yeah, one thing that I was just talking about is, like, we were just talking about is about the space. We don't have good like galleries or museums that display artwork, or like, a good space for, like I'm here, like I go down to camera with my friends, I'm like, you got a really nice place to, put work and stuff, but like we got so much to put, but yeah, like nowhere to put it, like, yeah, that's also, as something that needs to be.
Anyone else want to ask a question?
Any question?
I'm formulating
Anything, yeah.
I'm bouncing around in my head. Lesley, I love the way that your love for people comes through in your paintings. You can see that with when I first saw Beauty. Back in 2000,
Oh yeah, he's the curator.
Yeah.
He's the curator of my first.
At the Mac, that was
Wow.
incredible.
Oh yeah.
One of the challenges in PNG is to see that love and to grow it, because it is hard there, right? It's a hard place to live. The road to that is, nowhere in PNG is easy for anyone. Where do you see that interface between that life in, sorry, I'll take the mask off.
Yes.
Where do you see that bridges between the interfacing between the that hardness of life in PNG and your love for people? Where do you see that coming through in your paintings, or how it's developing?
Yeah, I think because I mean I felt that, like, like my art, you see so many things happening in the community, and like for me, as I said earlier, like I find art as an escaping, like I find it escaping and stuff, but at the same time I created, like, that world where you just find a different world altogether where you're living, but I create this scene where it's not a modern, I don't even capture something that is like of where I'm living, but I'm creating it's like a imaginative world, like looking at the painting of, like you know, the Mona Lisa painting, and then you see those beautiful, I mean, the background and stuff, and it doesn't even existed, but someone have imagined in a different ways of like, you know, and interpreted it in a different way. And for me, like my perspective, I'm looking at my own, the way of like how my village will be like, or how it is going to be in the past. So I'm interpreting it in that way of like my way of, you know, in this kind of way to, you know, show my so what we are like, you know, this is what we are in, you know, and probably violence and everything, you know, it counts, but it's also an escaping or to also find yourself in and, you know, enjoying some things. Yeah. Is that, yeah.
In regards to younger kids wanting to follow your footsteps in coming from PNG straight to Sydney, did you have to submit any artworks prior to coming here, or how did you get
to NAS?
school? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just ended up here like after just during my travel there. But my friend just told me like, hey, come on, let's go and check the school out and stuff. So I mean, on my way to the place, like I knew this place, but to submit the work, I was actually late to submit my application in and stuff. So unfortunately, they just make a way to like, you know, I mean, not unfortunately, yeah, they just make an option that I can, you know, do an application. So yeah, so I just do it, and then they just accept me. They're like, okay, come in, come in. So yeah, so that's what I ended up here. But it's not easy coming here to like, finding sponsors and stuff to international. Yeah.
Any more? Yeah.
I was interested in just asking, obviously when you did the presentation, you mentioned a lot about the traveling that you've done throughout your life, studying broker, football's where you came out of Sydney, you've been a lot of different places. Does that help you to maybe in your process, does that sort of help you understanding subjects, maybe their journeys or their lives, or is that traveling and the experience you've had, does it help you understanding subjects better?
Oh yeah, I would say yeah, because it influenced a little bit of my work. Like it helps me to, when I look at, you know, went to the, I would say like if I went to other museums or galleries, like visiting and stuff, it also influenced me. But traveling, I would say, because my subject, I like to keep it that way. But at the same time, I'm learning a little bit of like, you know, there and like, you know, kind of learning a little bit of skills and stuff. But I would say, like I do like to go and like get a perspective of what it is outside, or like what it is like in what is art relevance of today, and like, you know, then you as an artist, like I like to, as I said, like I like to call myself as a contemporary artist, because sometimes you can mix the, you know, like if it's coming from indigenous background, we call as, you know, like you know, different which, yeah, something like, yeah. So that's why I like to learn the relevance of what it is, and like what I paint, that is my subject is like, it's something that is personal to me, I would say, but also it's to everybody too. Like if it can relate to anybody too, yeah. I think that's
Any more?
Lesley, when you go back to, you know, look into the village elders and that, will you travel around the villages and take place, and, you know, what's your plans when you actually go back to capture the stories and the images?
I will just go stay in the village.
Just
Go stay in the village and do some sketches, and then just like, yeah, just learn a lot of the stories. And then that will help me with my paintings, like, you know, because all of this work were influenced by my grandfather and my grandmother, and I learned a little bit of that, and that, you know, had changes my, you know, that, you know, become my whole subject for that long time and stuff. But if I can go back, I mean, if I can do a lot of that, like in the village, and there's so many things that I can discover, I feel like that's a jewel that, you know, that needs to be, you know, yeah, that's a pearl, I would say.
You try to record these stories while you're.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing some little bit of video of that, like when they were talking, like, you know, just a little bit of, but yeah, at the same time we're doing some sketches, and and then hopefully But yeah, I'm just gonna stay in the village and yeah, maybe, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too bad one for you. Given you're getting the chance to go back to PNG on a semi-regular basis now, how are you seeing the other arts developing in PNG, the other artists? So you've seen how your own process has developed and grown over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
How are you seeing any sort of development in the artists back in Port Moresby or in Goroka?
Honestly, I would say, because as during the time when I was in craft market, like I was following, like I sell my work in craft market, but if you come to my stall where I stall that I put my work, it's completely a different work altogether. Because what I created, like the work that I created, it's so different because I study books, and that's what I'm saying, like, looking at the works of, in books and, stuff to learn from that. But what I felt in the art world, I mean, art market or art industry back in PNG, they copy each other. Like, it's like, if something is like that, like, you just do the same thing and there's nothing about exploring or, and trying to like, go in, and because there's so much to learn from there, but looking at this smaller scale, and that's something that, I felt like, it needs to also be, changing. And like, I felt like, and I'm happy that I experience it, like outside here, like I got a really broader understanding of what I can work with my work, and also help people, other artists also back home too, like to think a bit, think a bit wider instead of competing with each other, look broad. We live in a big world, and then you will also, your market is not PNG, it's the world. So do well. Yeah, it's like, yeah, so I think,
Anyone else want to comment or say anything? If not, Lesley, well, as one who's obviously an expert navigating between cultures or looking at cultures through different cultural lenses, we thought you'd be interested in this book as a thank you for all your effort in making this wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I find it immensely heartwarming.